12:06 in the afternoon right now here on 90.3 FM. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for Helping Seniors of Brevard. Let's get today's show underway. Always a good one with your host and the Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard. Here's Kerry Fink. Good afternoon, Kerry.
Hey, John Harper. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to gather around the radio lunchtime here. Wednesday afternoons, it's our regular gathering right here on 90.3 FM, WEJF. And a welcome to those who listen online at WEJF.net. The signal itself goes all throughout Brevard County. It's a 30,000 watt FM powerful signal, just blasts up and down the whole Space Coast. So we welcome those listening in by radio, those listening in on the World Wide Web, as they used to call it, and even those who will catch this later as a podcast, because now it's available on Apple iTunes. It's available on Amazon Podcasts, which you can go, hey, Alexa, and I want to hear Helping Seniors Radio. And you can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, any of the places you find podcasts. And the reason we do that, by the way, is because a lot of times when we're talking about something, somebody will say, hey, that's a really great point. I want to share that with my friend. I want to share that with so-and-so. They weren't listening at the time. So you can always go back and grab these resources and share them, because we also make sure that we publish this out on our Helping Seniors YouTube. We put them out on our Helping Seniors Facebook page, so we invite you to like and share that. And then also, even beyond that, it's on our own website, helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, which is a great resource. So literally, on behalf of our president and founder, Joe Steckler, our operations director, Nancy Deerdorf, who is busy nonstop fielding phone calls. We were talking about that in the studio. The phone volume on the Helping Seniors information line is more than doubled since last year. It's almost tripled in the volume of calls, and we're just getting call after call. The number one call that we get on that senior information line is about affordable senior housing. And so that call, which is a free call to 321-473-770, 321-473-770, that free call, like I said, we're getting well over 400 calls a month, and that is just keeping the work of Helping Seniors nonstop, trying to find solutions. You may have been picking up your hometown newspaper and reading. Joe Steckler has been doing a series of articles. You've probably seen them in Aldea Today, Ebony News Today, Senior Scene Magazine. He is doing a series, Affordable Housing. I think this week released part 5 in that series. And this is a real challenge for seniors, because homelessness at any age is a tough thing. You can only imagine what it must feel like if you're a senior and now, through really no fault of your own, the situations have changed. The place you've been renting for a long time, now they're wanting like triple the rent. And that's difficult. You know, if you're younger, maybe you say, I'm going to get a second job. I'm going to go for overtime. I'm going to do something. There's a way I can do this. But that's tough to do when you get older. And so that's why the work of Helping Seniors of Brevard is so important, is when you support us as a Florida nonprofit charity, you're really making the work that we're able to do possible. And it is amazing how much of an effect we're able to have in some very, very difficult situations, mainly because Joe Steckler and Nancy Deerdorf have so much experience in knowing who the right people to call are and where to go on a particular challenge. And so I always call it the little engine that could. We've helped, now it's getting close to 5,000 families absolutely free of charge since Joe initiated this whole nonprofit, and that was back in 2011. So here we are in 2022, and the need for helping seniors is more than it ever has been. So on to today's show. We're going to have such an exciting show. I'm so excited to introduce to you Amanda Walker, a dear friend of the Helping Seniors organization. She is the sales and marketing director with Hibiscus Court. She is in the studio today. How are you, Amanda?
Hi, Kerry. Good morning. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today.
And you guys do so much for the community. Between you and Ashleigh Caswell, who is actually, I'll just say she's like big time, because she's like over the whole sales and marketing for the entire chain or something like that, right?
She is. She's pretty big time. She doesn't act like it, nor does she ever want to be addressed in that way. But in my world, she's pretty big time.
Yeah, she's awesome, and she has been a tremendous dear friend of helping seniors for many, many years. Not only that, we'll joke about it later when because she's going to be on the show too. We'll talk about her role as the captain of Team Chevy when we talk about the Helping Seniors Car Raffle fundraiser. But we actually have a serious thing that we want to talk about. And also, by the way, on today's show, we're going to be welcoming Vicki Moore. It's interesting. Both Ashley and both Vicki serve on our volunteer board of directors for the Helping Seniors organization. And it is such a blessing to have people who not only are extremely competent, they are professional in every sense of the word. They know the business. They have been involved in this. They have been working with seniors for so many years. But when you find out how much they care about the people that they work with every day, it makes such a difference. And them helping us on the Helping Seniors Board of Directors is such a blessing. So we're going to talk, Vicki's expertise, by the way, is Medicare insurance. She is the one that can help navigate all those crazy pamphlets you get in the mail and trying to find out what's the best path to be able to make all that work. But actually, where we wanted to start out today, and the reason, Amanda, I asked if you would come and share, I know how busy you are, so I really appreciate you breaking away into the studio. But you guys do something that's very, very important, and it's called the Virtual Dementia Tour. And you guys have stood behind this for many years there at Hibiscus Court. And I think it's so important because oftentimes when we're dealing with someone with dementia or some kind of a memory impairment, oftentimes our first response is, well, let's just talk at them louder. Then they're going to get it, and what you do with the Virtual Dementia Tour is you help us understand what that journey must be like for somebody. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. About 10 years ago, Hibiscus Court decided or realized that there was definitely an education piece missing. We have always been educators in the community. We're almost 24 years old here in Brevard County, but still missing a small little piece to help our families and help our community understand those that are on a dementia journey or a memory journey, however you want to phrase it. So we partnered with Second Wind Dreams and are licensed to do a virtual dementia tour training. It is not a sit and listen to us talk to you about dementia, although we do share some information regarding the basics 101 of dementia. But it puts you physically into the shoes of those on a dementia journey. We alter your senses. So we go extreme. And then we basically kind of ask you to do simple everyday tasks that we're all so easily able to do, but our loved ones who get a little bit further down their dementia journey have difficulty doing. And by experiencing what it feels like to be in the shoes, to see the way they see, to hear the way sometimes our loved ones are hearing things, gives you a much different perspective. You're able to learn a little bit different styles of approach, which we also discuss in the debrief after the training is, sometimes it's as simple as approaching in a different way, approaching from the front, speaking clearly versus speaking loudly. A lot of times those who are struggling with dementia, their hearing is affected, and we think because we're standing right in front of them, talking to them, that they can hear us clearly. But the reality is they're hearing a television 2 doors down in another room.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily talk louder. It's try to figure out how to talk more clearly and how to ensure that their focus is at you. Same thing with vision. Vision changes as we all age. I know my vision has changed drastically in the last 10 years, but it changes even more as you age. And it's as simple as, not putting a white food on a white plate. Sometimes we think, oh, they're agitated, they're irritated, they're not eating. But the reality is, or they're not hungry, and that's why they're not eating. But sometimes the reality is they don't see the food on their plate. And that's all things and all tips that we offer at this training to help you help your loved one better, especially those that are along a dementia journey. We also offer time to talk. We've got a lot of experts in the building who have worked with those on memory journeys for a very long time. We've got a great team of volunteers with local organizations who are part of our training team who also have a lot of experience with those on dementia journeys. So we offer time for families and even caregivers to chat with us about ways that they can do better by their loved one. We've done this training for first responders. We've done it for a lot of our local EMTs, so that when they are called to homes with someone on a dementia journey, they're seeing and understanding a little bit better that it's not necessarily someone who needs to be Baker acted, but someone who just doesn't have the memory that they're used to having and isn't quite understanding things in the right way. So,
I guess it's everything you're saying about it is so important. I guess tell me if I'm saying this right. I think have things like airplane simulators. So if you want to experience what it's like to be a pilot, you sit down and you can be in the airplane simulator, and they can walk you through different scenarios. And then I think about like astronauts. Okay, so they get in a shuttle simulator or a spacecraft simulator, and then it's designed to kind of show them what the experience when you get to space. It's going to be kind of like this. I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but that's kind of how I hear Virtual Dementia Tour. You're kind of like creating a scenario where somebody gets an opportunity to experience what that person is going through. So it's really like a simulator so that you can sense what, and maybe get a little bit more sympathy for that situation.
Yes, that is actually a very fair comparison. It's actually a perfect comparison. So good job, Kerry.
Well, thank you. And by the way, we're going to welcome into the conversation, we were talking about you just before this, Ashleigh Caswell, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing for the entire senior living management chain of properties, of which Hibiscus Court is really a kind of a flagship. How are you today, Ashleigh?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
So we've been having a really good conversation, getting the ball rolling with this discussion about the Virtual Dementia Tour. And, one of the things that Amanda had just brought up, which I think was important, was you mentioned something called Baker Act. And we all, being sort of around this part of the business, we understand Baker Act. But let me stop down because I've heard this from Joe Downs. Joe is the head of Brevard County Triad, and he talks about how oftentimes, as well-trained as law enforcement professionals are, sometimes they confront somebody with dementia, and they think the response to that is Baker Act because they don't really have that frame of reference, which is exactly what you're talking about, why virtual dementia training is so important, because that's like applying the wrong cure to the situation you're facing.
Absolutely. Joe Downs his role right now with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office is amazing. I am actually on the board of Triad.
Oh, wow.
So I get to work very closely with Joe with helping support our seniors in the community and helping our Brevard County Sheriff's Office understand the differences too. But yes, that's it's really where virtual dementia comes in and can help. And we have had Sheriff Ivey and some of his deputies come through our training to help better understand the differences between those on a dementia journey and those that might be under the influence of something else or have other
issues
going on besides that dementia umbrella. So that's where virtual dementia really does. And like you said, simulation, it's definitely, it's not as technologically advanced as airline simulators for pilots, but it definitely gives you the sense of having your senses altered so that you have a little bit of that insight, that one-on-one encounter of what someone who is on a dementia journey is going through. And it's all the extremes. So it can sometimes be a little hard to take in because it's extreme. So we do give you, arthritis to sense having arthritis in your hands, neuropathy in your feet, macular degeneration in your eyesight.
Oh my goodness.
And then of course we talked briefly about the hearing and not always hearing what's directly in front of you, which happens sometimes as you age. So we give you all of those effects and then ask you to complete daily tasks.
Yeah. So Ashleigh Caswell, you guys, you and Heidi kind of brought that program to Hibiscus Court and saw the value for doing that, because you guys are also just general. You guys are leaders in memory care in the area here too, right?
Yeah, so we have a memory care community here at Hibiscus Court, but we also have a lot of residents who are on a dementia journey, who maybe have a dementia diagnosis, who don't live in our memory care community, who live in our assisted living. So we really have made it a point to bring dementia awareness in all its different forms to people in Brevard County, because we know when we know better, we can do better. So the inspiration for bringing virtual dementia to Brevard County was actually a law enforcement officer who didn't know how to treat one of our new residents who was joining us, and unfortunately was being removed from her home and needed a little bit of a police escort to join us. And he didn't understand her journey, and we took that opportunity to educate his department and other law enforcement officers and how to maybe interact with people a little differently to get a better response and to understand what their environment looks like, because someone who's on a dementia journey can be in the same room as you and be experiencing a completely different environment. So when you're aware of how their perception might be different than yours, you're able to really have a better outcome.
Yeah. Yeah, as you guys were talking about this whole concept, I was thinking about, because we mentioned the term Baker Act, and I remember before I got associated with helping seniors of Brevard, I didn't know what that meant. Can one of you, can maybe Amanda, can you talk a little bit about just generally what a Baker Act is? Because oftentimes, somebody who doesn't know better says, well, that's what we need to do with this person to kind of get them under control, and that's, like I said, maybe not what the situation is actually calling for.
Right. So I will actually toss this to Ashleigh. She's got a little more experience than I do when it comes to working alongside professionals who participate or help with those that need to be Baker Acted.
From our perspective, it's when there needs to be an intervention when someone is not safe, when they're maybe a danger to themselves or others. So what it looks like with our population, with seniors, is generally someone who, unfortunately, maybe needs a medication adjustment or maybe needs a change in environment, and they're not able to make those good decisions for themselves. So, a doctor might step in and do a Baker Act, or, it might be something where the police have to intervene to get them to proper medical care, to get them to the right environment. So, it's something that if it needs to happen, it's generally good that it happens, but sometimes it's a misunderstanding, and people with dementia, they can't communicate the same. They can't process our words the same. So it might just be something as simple as slowing down and communicating differently to the individual that can prevent a law enforcement officer from thinking they need to go down the Baker Act path to just, communicating differently and maybe altering the environment a little bit to get the desired result from the individual.
And that's really another thought process in that, because again, like I said, you encounter somebody, and I always say this because we are all part of an organization that we meet together once a month there, actually at Hibiscus Court. It's called the Golden Providers, and it's a business-to-business network where different people who are involved in the senior world get together. It's one part business networking and just lead sharing and things like that, but it's also, there's a lot of education that goes on, because a lot of times, the example is you might be talking to somebody who goes into people's homes, maybe they're doing home repairs, or maybe they're pool maintenance, or maybe they're fixing the air conditioning or working on a roof repair or anything like that, and they don't really understand some of the nuances of working effectively with seniors in the same way that you guys do, because this is this is the world that you guys excel at. And so sometimes people just go, oh, that's a crazy old person. And that's not the case that's going on at all. Right, Amanda?
Absolutely. We all get a little kooky as we age.
Sure.
But a lot of times in our senior population, there tends to be something else that's going on if we're starting to see some different changes in personality or changes in how they're taking care of themselves. And a lot of times it is, like Ashleigh had mentioned, maybe there's just some medication management that we need to talk about or address. A lot of our seniors see 5, 6, 7 different physicians who all prescribe something.
Different things, right.
And, they're just doing what their doctors tell them. But a lot of times maybe someone needs to kind of go, oh, wait, hold on. You need to not take that with that one. Still take it because that's what your doctor wants you to do and needs you to do, but maybe it needs to be managed a little bit differently.
Yeah, or if one doctor doesn't know what the other one is prescribed, they may be inadvertently creating a challenge that they didn't intend to.
Absolutely, and that happens more often than you think. So it's very important, since we're talking about it, to make sure that all of your doctors are up to date on all of your medications, including over-the-counters. That's something we talk with families about often when they move into assisted living and we start managing their medication, is ensuring that their physicians are all on the same page of every medication, including over-the-counters and supplements, because sometimes even supplements can affect certain medications.
Yeah, so we're going to come back on the second half of the show. We're going to talk, we're actually going to bring Vicki Moore, who is a Medicare insurance expert. She's going to join us on the conversation. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Before we get there, though, Amanda, I wanted to ask you to share, if somebody is hearing about this virtual, because you guys do these, I think it's almost monthly, but if somebody wants to find out the schedule of when these things are happening, how do they do that?
Yes, absolutely. We do host Virtual Dementia monthly at Hibiscus Court. It is the second Tuesday of every month in the afternoons. And you can call 321-951-1050. Call our community, our front desk, and they can schedule your appointment time to experience virtual dementia. Again, it's the second Tuesday of every month. So in June, it's going to be June 14th. The appointments typically start around 3 o'clock, and you can call 321-951-1050 to schedule your appointment.
Is this a costly thing?
Nope, it's free of charge.
Oh, wow.
We just ask that you can spare about 45 minutes to go through the entire training so that you get all of the information that you need and walk away a little bit more of an expert in how to care for your loved one.
Great. Real quickly, one more time, that phone number.
321-951-1050.
Okay, stick with your radio. We got a lot more on the Helping Seniors radio show coming up next.
12:33 in the afternoon now, here on 90.3 FM. You're listening to Helping Seniors of Brevard, heard every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 o'clock. I'm John Harper. Let's get the show underway, or continue right now, with your host and the Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard, Kerry Fink. Hi, Kerry.
Hey, John Harper. Thank you again. It's always a pleasure to be back for the second half of the Helping Seniors radio show right here on 90.3 FM, WEJF. A special hello to those who also listen online at wejf.net. And as we mentioned before, we do podcasts. So these show up fairly quickly after the broadcast on Apple iTunes, Alexa, every place, Spotify, every place you get your podcast. And then we also make sure we stick them on our helpingseniorsofbrevard.org website, because what we find, we're a nonprofit. It's the fancy term is a Florida 501c3, and that's a fancy word for nonprofit. And basically what it means is we have no reason to exist other than to serve you. So we are all about helping families and seniors here in Brevard County as they tackle the challenges of being a senior. So we sort of have a thing that Joe Steckler, our president and founder, has talked about for years called making an aging plan. So when you run into our radio shows or TV shows, we publish Center Section every month in Senior Scene magazine. We're always talking about the information that is designed to help you, we call it jokingly, get your ducks in a row, but to get you thinking about things ahead of time. So like in the first half of the show, and if you didn't get to hear it, want to make sure to ask you to go back and find the podcast, because it's good information about the Virtual Dementia Tour that Amanda Walker, who is the Sales and Marketing Director with Hibiscus Court Assisted Living and Memory Care, and Ashleigh Caswell, who is connected there, but you're actually corporate, Ashley, with sales and marketing for the entire group. But we were talking about how important this is. And I also want to welcome into the studio none other than Vicki Moore. And Vicki Moore is an independent insurance agent who has a lot of experience, very knowledgeable about things Medicare. And we're going to talk about it. Hey, Vicki, how are you today?
I'm great, Kerry. Nice to be here today.
And during the break, we were having fun talking about New York City. That's like an old hometown for us because we lived in Manhattan for 10 years, and it's just a fantastic place. And you were saying, yeah, it was a great time.
Yes, it was my first visit there, and it was wonderful. I loved it.
It's a good thing. Well, hey, listen, what we wanted to do, we're going to talk a little bit about some Medicare things and things that you need to think about on your aging plan. Before we get there, though, while I have the luxury of having everybody here with us, I want to talk about our fundraiser, because I just finished telling you, like, helping seniors, what we do. Number one, we have the Senior Information Helpline, 321-473-7770. That's a free call. We've helped, like I said, it's getting close to 5,000 families now. The numbers are growing very rapidly because we're getting 400 plus calls per month that Nancy Deerdorf, our operations director, 33 years of registered nurse experience has got. And then she's also ran one of the largest home health agencies in the area. And so it's becoming a daunting task because every day there's more and more calls about this affordable housing thing here in Brevard County. So we do that. Then we do all the education components of what we do. And then number three, if you've been picking up Hometown News, you've been seeing Joe's been writing those articles about affordable housing and the crisis that exists among seniors here in Brevard County. So we're all about advocacy for seniors. And how do we keep this going? It's two ways. Number one, it's through your own generosity as a person who says, listen, I want to pay it forward. I want to be part of the solution. I want to help out seniors. God willing, I'm either a senior, love and care for a senior, or God willing, I'm going to be a senior, so I'm going to do this and get involved. This is such important work. When Joe started this in 2011, it was important. Today, it's only that much more important because we have that many more seniors and we have that many more people moving into Brevard County. I mean, Florida is growing by leaps and bounds. And so all these seniors come in, they need help identifying the resources that are going to help them. And that's why the work of helping seniors is so important. So one of the fun ways that we get to fund this is called the Helping Seniors Car Raffle. And that is now in its 6th year. We're going to be giving away cars for the 6th time on October 29th, 2022. And we do that every year with a big party at Mark Pylock's astounding American Muscle Car Museum. Ashley, you've been involved in this almost since day one. Talk about the experience of going to that museum.
So I've been lucky enough to go into that museum. It's a private collection, 20, 30 times. And every single time I walk into the door, it takes my breath away because there's just so many things to look at. They're all amazing works of art, and it's different every single time. He continues to acquire new things. It's not just cars, right? There's a bicycle collection. I mean, I've been known to ride a hot dog cart there.
Right.
I know one time when we were filming there, we were in a giant shoe that's also a vehicle. So it's a really fun place to be. It's great to walk around and experience it with your friends and family.
Yeah.
And it's a place that, it's not open to the public. It's his private collection. So
yeah.
It's really awesome that we are invited back year after year.
Yeah, it'd be like if I invited you over to my garage to see 4 cars, except this guy doesn't have 4 cars. He's got like hundreds, It's like unbelievable. And Vicki Moore, you were there was that your first visit when you were there with us last year to the Muscle Car Museum when we were doing the grand drawing last year?
Yes, I believe that I think I helped out. That was my 2nd year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was my 2nd year. And just like Ashley said, and you said, I mean, every time you walk in there, it's more cars, and it's very, very cool. And I'm from Indiana originally, and so I was really amazed with the pace cars from the Indianapolis
Yes.
500. There's
Oh,
quite a
yeah.
collection. I'm not sure how many they have, how many pace cars, but that was pretty cool for me to see.
Yeah, so when you get your ticket, you know, you do actually three things. One ticket is $25, or here's the best deal, is you get 5 tickets in the Helping Seniors car raffle for a $100 donation. So that if you do the math, and I'm a whiz, I can do this even without a calculator, right? That makes your tickets down to $20. You cannot go see a movie and have a dinner for $20. And so think what happens when you get 5 tickets for $100. What you're doing is that you are not only supporting the work of helping seniors and making sure that we're here and able to serve the growing number of seniors in Brevard County and the families that are trying to work through all these different challenges that they face. Number 2, you might win a new car. We're going to talk about that in a second. But for sure, while you don't have to be present to win, the rules state that if you happen to be out of town and we draw your ticket, you are still the winner. But if you're there, if you're in town Saturday evening, October 29th, you do not want to miss this event. Mark Pylock is generous and kind and springs for everything. He gets the beer, the wine, the sodas, the water. He gives us great sandwiches, and plus we get to walk around, like I was joking about, his private garage. It's like $80 million worth of private garage. It's big enough, you know, it's like 2 aircraft hangars big. But let's talk about the cars you can win for just a second. So, Ashleigh, from almost day one, there's 4 cars. That's the fun about this. So, our president, Joe Steckler, has been friends with AJ Hires, who is the car dealer that has one of every dealership here in Brevard. And years ago, they came up, but this was back when Joe was doing the Brevard Alzheimer's and trying to build the Joe's Clubs. AJ got beside him and said, let me help you with this. Let's do car raffles and raise money. So AJ makes available a car from each of his dealerships. And we said, well, you've got a Chevrolet dealership, so we got to talk about the Camaro, right? And he's got a Dodge dealership, so we got to talk about the Dodge Challenger. He's got a Mazda dealership, so we've got to talk about the Mazda Miata convertible. And then he's got a Kia dealership. So we even throw in a Kia Sportage, which is a cool car. But Ashleigh, talk about this because you have been team captain for a while of something called Team Chevy.
Well, if you're going to give me the choice between all 4 of those cars, they're all great. I mean, the Camaro, though, it's just a classic. And, you know, when I joined that team, I had an idea that we might be able to race at the American Muscle Car Museum, but we did make it happen about a year later. So it's really awesome to be able to represent Team Chevy and to, put the cars to their limits around the track there at the American Muscle Car Museum.
Yeah.
So
it's so much fun because we did a thing because this actually became a shtick now because Jennifer Helen with Seniors Helping Seniors is the diehard Dodge Challenger fan. So some years ago when we sensed there was a little bit of rivalry about which car was better, we started talking about a thing called Dodge versus Chevy Challenge. So you can actually find that online. You can go to helpingseniors.carraffle.com or you can go to dodgevchevychallenge.com. And we had so much fun. We're going to do it again this year, but we stuck GoPros in the car and let you guys loose with the cars. And it's hilarious just to watch how all that unfolded.
yeah, I mean, you can use most of the footage from inside the car.
I remember there was actually a couple, like somebody mashed the gas pedal, and there were a couple of things they had to actually bleep out. Because the reaction was like, whoa.
It's just, these cars are so awesome. And AJ's so nice to let us play sometimes with, top-of-the-line cars. So, it's really just a testament to how giving he is to let us use these cars, not only to have one to give away to benefit our charity, but also to continue to use them to raise awareness and raise money throughout the year.
Yeah, I love the line that Eric Swist, who is with Boniface Hire Chevrolet, he was the guy, he's been your crew chief for several years. He brings out the car, And after you guys had finished running it around the course, he's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm probably going to have to take back and get new tires on it." You guys were having so much fun with it. But listen, you can have the fun with this too. Go visit helpingseniors.carraffle.com. You can get your tickets there, helpingseniors.carraffle.com. One ticket for $25, five for $100, or you could just call Nancy on the Senior Information Helpline 321-473-7770. She can get you set up with tickets. You can pop by any of the Boniface Hires dealerships. I think you guys have them, Amanda, there at Hibiscus Court, right?
I do. You can swing by Hibiscus Court as well and purchase your tickets.
Or Vicki Moore, who has stepped up to the plate and says, you guys have a fan for Camaro, you guys have a fan for Dodge, but I'm the Mazda girl. What is how does Mazda work into all this? The Mazda Miata convertible, which is an amazing car too.
So I was very fortunate. I came in a little later than the other two, and so the muscle cars were taken. But truly, if I had my druthers, that would have been my first choice, is the Mazda Miata. I love it, and I actually already drive a Mazda SUV, so that just was perfect for me, and I love convertibles. Now, I will say though, the first time I got to drive it, I was not expecting. I wasn't thinking about a manual or a 5-speed, so that kind of threw me off. I had to kind of remember how to drive that, so it took a bit. But once I did that, it was so fun, and so I love that I get to be Team Mazda and drive the Miata convertible. It's super cool.
And Amanda, have you settled? I think you've been assigned to Team Dodge because what we did, we wanted to have two people from different locations, in the team, so it's not all like one side against the other. But what do you like?
I'm not a big car person, so I just like that we raise money for Helping Seniors of Brevard, and someone out there gets to win a car. Honestly, I'm such an outdoorsy person with my paddleboard and camping that, quite honestly, the Kia Sportage sounds great to me because I can throw my board up on top and throw some camping gear in the back. So I don't know. Maybe I need to start Team Kia.
You could make that work. Well, it's funny because I think it was 3 years ago. Our winner, local lady, Karen Hoodless, we drew her. She was there that night, and she said, "I want the Dodge Challenger." And then 2 years ago, in the middle of COVID, I remember Ashleigh. We were all Joe, Mark Pylock, his lovely wife. We were all standing outside the American Muscle Car Museum because we couldn't have an event inside. But we drew the ticket, and the guy who won was local. And he says, "I want the Chevrolet." And he ended up with a Chevrolet Camaro, no less. And then last year, when we pulled the winning ticket with almost like 2,500 people in the Muscle Car Museum, the guy's another local winner. His name was David Odahowski. And of all things, he said, just like you said, I can use the Kia Sportage. And so that's what he went home with. So it's going to be fun to see what you pick when you win October 29th. But you ain't going to win if you don't get a ticket. So, Vicki, you have tickets also, right?
I do. I have tickets, and I will travel. So if somebody...
I will bring the tickets to you.
Yes. So, I'm happy to put my phone number out there. If somebody needs me to bring tickets, I can do that. And they're also, I think, at the Care Plus office.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. We've got, the good thing is we've got a whole plethora of places around the county that you can get these tickets. But the important thing is you got to do it because this is how we stay in operation. So it's so important. 321-473-7770 is our number. Helping Seniors HelpingSeniorsCarRaffle.com is a great place to go. And so it's going to be fun. We're going to get together. We'll get all the cars out there at Mark's Museum this summer. So be looking for that. That's going to be coming up. But before we get gone, I really want to talk, Vicki Moore, with you for just a minute about what you do. Again, kind of like Ashleigh is one of our volunteer board members. John Harper is one of our volunteer board members. And all these people take time. You guys are all busy. It's not like you need another thing to do. But the fact that you take the time to get on board and say, I want to help you guys in the work of helping seniors. First of all, it says a lot about you as individuals and the fact that you really care about the role that you do. But I've also seen you, Vicki, go way out of your way to try to help people try to wade through all the challenges that, it's wonderful that we have Medicare available, but when we don't make the right choice to match the health needs that we have, we're in real trouble. And we met you first through your work with Care Plus, but now you've expanded your portfolio and you're able to really look at a lot of different options to make sure somebody's getting the best solution.
Right. And I will say, I mean, Medicare, just plain and simple, is complicated. I don't think there's anybody that knows the answer to every single thing, with Medicare. But that's I guess I kind of pride myself on the fact that like you mentioned earlier, I mean, I've had some interesting cases and people with some complicated situations, and I work really hard to make sure that I can help them wade through whatever those issues may be. And sometimes I think the one maybe you were referring to, somebody, needed help getting Medicaid, and sometimes that can be a little more complicated than, just getting your Medicare. So I kind of try to help wade through whatever those issues may be. And so
I was thinking about this because you wrote an article for us a month or so back where you're really talking about the fact, because, we get up to like October. First of all, everybody's mailbox gets flooded. And I just remember this from from watching our mom's mailboxes. They would just fill up with this stuff. And you would, even if it was interesting or looked interesting, it was colorful, it had some nice looking people on it, and we can save you all this money. But the practical thing is, once you started to wade into it, you had no real idea if this was going to help or not help.
Well, I think it really does make a difference to talk to somebody that especially somebody local that's familiar with your networks, your doctors, your providers that are local, as well as somebody that knows the plans in the area. And, a lot of those, all of those shiny things that come in the mail, they might make all these promises, but
right.
That doesn't mean that it's going to work for each individual. Everybody's got certain situations. I mean, some of those might be for people that are dual eligible, that meaning they have Medicare and Medicaid. So it's not going to help, if it's promising a big return or a give back, it may not apply to you. Right. So those are the kind of things I can help people wade through and help figure out what the best options are for them.
Yeah, and I remember that even, not everything happens at that open enrollment people, right? Because people are turning 65 every day, number
right.
one. Number two, people are moving in, and I understand there's even some leeway, like if your medical situation may have changed drastically, then things can open up that you may need to, or you may have an opportunity to see if there's something that could help you in that case.
Right. So there's all sorts of different special enrollment periods. We just, March 31st was the end of what we call OEP, when people were allowed to make changes. But if you are gaining Medicaid, losing Medicaid, gaining LIS, different things, if you've just become, if you've gotten a chronic illness, heart issues or diabetes, things like that, those are all different things that could qualify you for a special enrollment period or a special type of plan. There's also plans that are what we call 5-star plans, which you were referencing. The article that I recently wrote was kind of about that. Those, there's certain plans in the area that allow you to enroll in them all year long because they are designated by CMS as a special or as a 5-star plan. So there's many, so even if you don't think, maybe you're on a plan that you don't love, or for whatever reason it's not working for you anymore, it does make sense to talk to somebody, an expert that knows what they're doing, right. Knows about Medicare, and they can look at everything for you and let you know, okay, maybe there is this special enrollment period, or maybe you need to wait until October.
One of the things we're always talking about in the helping seniors world, and it may actually end up being our theme next year. This year we kind of put out this idea of get your ducks in a row, and that's always going to be a recurring sub-theme because it goes right back to what Joe had identified at day one, is we need to be about helping people do their aging plan. But one of the things as we're going through these different areas, by the way, that I think is a very important sub-theme, and like I said, maybe it becomes the thing that we talk about really throughout all of next year, is don't go this on your own. Because, what the lesson, every time I sit down with an elder law attorney, every time I sit down and talk to a financial expert, every time I sit down and talk with you, Vicki, and we hear about these Medicare things, we get lost in this donut hole stuff. We don't know which doctors are covered. And so you see these ads on TV and you call some 809 and they have no idea who's a doctor is in a plan in Satellite Beach, Florida, or wherever you may live. And this is what you do because you're local. So it seems like you've got to, and I want to bring Amanda Walker with Hibiscus Court into this conversation because it's the same thing. Like we were talking in the first part of the show about virtual dementia, but you guys, you and Ashley and the team over at Hibiscus Court, you're kind of experts. This isn't your first rodeo. Somebody comes to you and says, I'm not sure what's going on with mom or what the best solution is. You guys really have the expertise to guide them because you have that expertise.
It takes a village. It definitely takes a village and a team, and we're lucky to have wonderful partners like Vicki and like some of our elder law attorneys here in Brevard County to help. But yeah, I mean, even assisted living can be a process if you've never had to put a loved one or move into assisted living or look into added care outside of the home. It's all a process, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So yeah, reaching out to experts in their specific fields is always a plus, and we're so blessed here in Brevard County to have some really great ones who it's not just a job, it's because they truly care about Brevard County and our community and our seniors.
Well, see, that's one of the things that I really want to point out is what I see in the people, and this has always been something Joe has talked about from the beginning. There's lots of people out here, and think about this, people move in really by the moving truck load into Florida every day. They have no frame of reference. They don't know. They may have had some good trusted resources where they're coming from, up north or out in the Midwest or wherever. But then they get to Florida and they've got to figure out who they're going to get a hold of and trust. And that's one of the reasons why Joe has been so particular about this since day one. And it's wonderful when we have the opportunity to partner with professionals who not only share that passion, but that's how they approach their jobs. They want to make sure we're doing the right thing for seniors and their families. We're about out of time on the show. I want to make sure, Vicki, if somebody has, maybe they want to just get the Helping Seniors car raffle tickets, which is great, but maybe there's a more important discussion to be had, like, do I have the right plan in place for what I'm trying to do and the situations that I have to face? How do they get in touch with you?
So the best way to reach me is my cell phone, which is 321-272-0218. And one thing I will say is, October 15th through December 7th is AEP, the annual enrollment period. And I think it is very important to evaluate every year. Make sure you're on the best plan possible because the plans change.
Yeah.
Same thing with your prescription drug plans. Your medications change, the formularies change. So make sure that you address that with somebody. And like I said earlier, I think it is helpful to do it with somebody local who's familiar with the networks and things like that. So,
Vicki Moore, licensed insurance agent, and so also Amanda Walker, Hibiscus Court, whether it's Virtual Dementia Tour, maybe finding out what options are there. You guys have been stable, rock solid in the area for 24 years. How do people get in touch with you?
Yes, you can call us at 321-951-1050. Again, it's Hibiscus Court at 321-951-1050.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being part of the Helping Seniors radio show today. And thank you, listener, for joining us. We'll see you next week right back here on 90.3 FM WEJF.